Today is February 20th, 2025. My name is Bobby Goodman. I'm interviewing Steve Freedman about his days at the Columbian Club. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, thank you.
So let me just jump right in here and kind of ask you the basic first question. When were you a member of the Columbian Club?
Well, actually, I was a member of the Columbian Club the day I was born. My parents were members in the 50s. So when probably when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I can remember going to the Columbian Club, but I didn't play any activities or anything. So when I was about 12 years old, I had gone to camp in the summers, and this particular summer, I think I was around 12, my dad came home with a set of golf clubs, and he said, "You're going to start playing golf." So I said, "Sure, love to." And that was the first time I'd really gone to the Columbian Club doing any activities. So my brother and I went to the club, and we signed up probably about 6 or 7 lessons with the assistant pro at the time was Roland Radosky. So after about 3 or 4 lessons, the golf bug bit me. I was so into playing golf. I played for probably four straight summers, almost every day, except Monday, because the club was closed.
So you were, your family was a member, your dad was a member, and then you joined about when as a member yourself?
So when I got out of college, not more than a year after I was out of college, I joined the club. Cost me $200. Couldn't beat it. Couldn't beat the deal.
That's a good day. And how long were you a member?
And, well, I was a member till they closed the club.
Okay. Over 30 years.
However many years that was.
That was over 30 years, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Steve, kind of tell me, obviously, when you were a member as a child, what the membership kind of looked like, and then like the age group, like were the other members you had a lot of kids there, or were the members older? And then tell me about how the membership when you actually joined yourself.
Well, when I was a teenager growing up, we had a set of probably maybe 20 or 30 teenagers, all about our age. We all played golf. We all had a good time, had a lot of fun at the club. I mean, a typical day at the club was you go play golf, and then you go you eat, and then you go into the game room, you play ping pong, you play pool, then you go swim, and you cut up and you have a great time. Those memories at the club were really awesome. Now, what I saw back then as a youngster was the older people who probably were in their 30s at the time, 30s or 40s. I looked up to them, and I felt that, one day I'm going to be like these guys, and the relationship that I had with them was great. I mean, I respected them. They were my elders. I looked up to them, and that was one of the reasons why, in my opinion, that the club was such a fine place, because had all these generations, and we all got along.
So let me ask you, when your dad joined, do you think he felt any anti-Semitism? Do you think that's one of the reasons? And then answer it for yourself. Did you ever feel it, and that's kind of why you felt comfortable going?
Yeah, when my parents joined, they joined because the Jews were all together, and that's why they joined. They wanted a place where they could all go to. I never felt any anti-Semitism, and to me, it was a safe place because we were around all the people that we like. I mean, I liked being around Jews, and this was one of my favorite places. And I didn't see any anti-Semitism beforehand.
So while you were there, relationship with the club, did you find yourself a part of any of the leadership or committees, or was that left kind of up to the old generation?
Yeah, that was definitely left up to the old generation. I was not involved in the politics of the club. However, if I had an issue, I knew who was on the board, and I would talk to them about any issues that I possibly had. And so I didn't have a need to be on the board.
So let's talk a little bit about the importance to the club. First and foremost, for you, tell me about why it was important about the club. What was
Okay.
it to you?
Couple of things. Number one, obviously, growing up, it was important because golf was really my activity. I grew up playing golf from the time I was 12 years old till today, and it was a big part of my social life. I was friends with, had all these golfing friends, and I also got to play golf with older people at times, and that was a hoot. Morris and Dorothy Zelazny, I used to play with them, and I used to have the best times with them. And I played with your dad on occasion, and it was a lot of fun. So you got to mingle with different generations. What was your question?
Well, no, it was basically the importance of the club to you, yeah. And so,
Well, as I got older, then obviously things kind of changed with what I felt about the club. In that now I have kids, so a typical day with the kids was we'd go out to the pool, and then we would spend all day out at the pool. And then when it became time for their bar mitzvah, both my boys did their bar mitzvah parties at the club. I got married at the club. There was so much fun at the club. Thursday night bingo at the club was a lot of fun. The food was outstanding. I really missed the Columbian Club. It was a huge part of my life.
And did you other family members that were members of the club? Obviously, your dad and your.
Yeah, my dad played. There's 2 poker games at the club. They had a big game and a small game. My dad played every Saturday in the big game. My brother Dickie played every Saturday in the big game. My brother Mark and we played in the little game. So we got plenty of poker in. And between the Thursday night bingo, the Sunday brunches, the pool, there was so much to do at the club. It was really a great place.
So you had siblings that were members as well.
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
So, you mentioned your family and, of course, your friends growing up playing golf. Had lots of those and are you still friends with these people today?
Most of them, except for Bobby Goodman.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm still friends with most of everybody that I played with back in the day. And like another thing that happened that was pretty cool was I played on the St. Mark's golf team. Well, the Columbian Club became the home course for the St. Mark's golf team. So every afternoon we got to go to the club, play golf. We got to bring our golfing members who were not members of the club. We got to bring them to the Columbian Club. We got to show them off, show off our club. It was a lot of fun.
You mentioned a couple things that seemed to be a theme that keeps coming back about Thursday night bingo. What was the phrase that everybody talks about?
66, clickety-click. Harold Osborne, as you know, used to call the bingo games. And the biggest fun would be if you got to win the $500 jackpot, and that's what we came for. A little funny story that happened. I'm not sure if my brother already told you about it, but we used to get these bingo cards. You paid, I think, $1 or $2 for a bingo card. And then at the end of the game, at the end of the night, you just gave your cards back. Well, what we did when we were teenagers, we would take the cards and we would go hide them under the seat cushions. And so the next Thursday that came around, we'd get our cards under the seat cushions so we didn't have to pay the $1 for the cards.
That's awesome. And then the other recurring theme is the food. It was
Oh,
you
yeah.
talked about the food.
Yeah.
So, just curious, what was your favorite item on the menu? What would you say?
Okay, there were two items that were my favorite. Number one was the prime rib. So on Thursday night, they had the buffet, and then they had this huge prime rib. And I could go in there for eat 2 or 3 servings. And the other thing was they had fried chicken, which was really good. So I look forward to that. Another thing is we would play golf we played on Saturdays and Sundays, but on Sunday we'd play golf early, and after 9 holes, we'd come in to go to the restroom, and as we're leaving, we'd stop by the buffet, grab a few pieces of bacon or whatever, and then go off and tee off on the back 9.
The food was outstanding on it. You mentioned golf. What other activities did you do there? And I think you mentioned swimming.
Yeah, well, I'd swim occasionally with the kids. I did play a little tennis out at the club, played ping pong, shot some pool. They had a little pinball machine room and did that. But primarily golf was my sport. That was the sport that I loved. And the assistant pro there, Roland Radosky, he was the guy that really guided all the junior golfers. And we everybody that got a chance to really spend time with him really appreciated him.
So, Steve, you mentioned Roland, and it sounds like you're really involved with the club. Any of the other club employees that you had created relationships with?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because what I found was that the employees, they were kind of like my friends and family. I think because I was fairly young growing up, so in the club, and so I looked up to the employees, and I became friends with them. One of the employees that I remember, that most of us do remember, was the locker room attendant named Norris Pratt, and he was so much fun. We used to kid around with him, he'd kid around with us, and then occasionally on Mondays, we'd go play golf with him out at Cedar Crest Country Club or Tennyson. And we had a lot of fun. There is one story I'd like to tell you about Norris. When we would go to the club in the summers and it would be raining, we'd be hanging around the club getting into all kinds of trouble. Well, this one day I was in the locker room, and Norris had this tiny little broom that he used to clean up with. And so I asked him, I said, let me have that broom. So I took the broom and I was starting to swing it, just pretending it was a golf club. And all of a sudden I swung it, it fell out of my hand, and it flew right into his nose. He had this big old bloody nose, and I'm thinking, this man is never going to forgive me for that. However, eventually he did forgive me, but that's one story about Norris Pratt that I remember. The other thing that I remember was on Fridays, they used to let the employees play golf, and they would, around 4 o'clock, the employees would go out and play 9 holes, and me being a 14-year-old kid, I jumped in there and played with them. We would have 8 or 9 guys on one hole. It was so much fun.
That sounds fun. That may be one of them, but tell me a few of your favorite memories of what happened there.
Well, obviously, my 2 boys' bar mitzvahs and my wedding, those were probably one of my 3 most happiest days. Those 3 events were a lot of fun, and naturally the bingo nights were a lot of fun. I do remember one thing. I was probably maybe 13 or 14 years old, and at that time I really looked up to the better golfers, the guys that were in their 18, 19, 20 years old. And I remember this one instance. Back then, the three best golfers of the club were Andy Stone, Richard Hoffman, and Freddie Avalon. And this one particular day, this was the final of the club championship, I went out to watch them play, and the three of them battled it out on the back nine for the championship. And being, as young as I was, watching these guys who were probably all shooting under par, that was a thrill. That was a big thrill.
That's really cool. So, why do you think the Columbian Club closed?
Well, I thought about that, and it's a very interesting topic. That why did it close? I think it has to do with a couple of things. I think number one, the Jewish community got scattered out. They weren't all as close, living together in a close range as they used to. Some were living in Frisco and Plano and East Dallas and North Dallas, and I think the location had something to do with it. I think the other thing to do with it was a lot of the younger couples had started having pools in their homes, so that it didn't have the attraction of the big pool like it used to. And if you didn't play golf, it didn't quite have that attraction. So they started losing members, and they weren't bringing in younger members. And I think maybe they probably could have started to bring in some non-Jewish members to build up the membership, because it got to the point where that the membership had started to decline, and the only way that they could afford to keep the club going was to start assessing the members more and more money, and members didn't want to pay those assessments. So it turned out that the ones that stayed were the avid golfers.
And the younger ones probably couldn't afford all the assessments.
The younger ones that didn't want to pay that price, they would go to other country clubs maybe, or just start playing golf at public courses.
So do you think if the Columbian Club, you think it could be successful if it was to come back today?
I think the Columbian Club could be successful if it came back today, if it brought in non-Jewish members as well. I don't think a 100% Jewish country club could really survive. That's my opinion. Unfortunately.
Have you been to the new Columbian Club?
The restaurant?
The restaurant bar, yes.
Well,
yeah.
I have not been there. Obviously, I know who owns it. Brian Rudd and his partners. I do plan on going, and I did happen to find a couple of things that maybe they could use. I found about 4 or 5 old Columbian Club newsletters that I had.
Very cool.
And I did find a couple of packs of matches that said the Columbian Club, and I do plan to present that to Brian and say, frame it for me or something.
That's awesome. You had these at your house, or you
I
found
have them
them
in my office.
That is awesome. So, Steve, is there anything that you'd like to add that I didn't bring up?
I mean, one of the things that in my memories of the club, due to the fact that I played a lot of golf, was I remember the golf tournaments. The Columbian Club had so many golf tournaments that were so much fun. Not only did we have the club championships every year that really got everybody psyched up for, but every month we had another type of fun tournament. And that was the chance where you got to play golf with different people, and it was so much fun, and that's really one of the things that I miss about the club. And obviously I do miss Roland Radosky, and I miss getting ribbed by Harold Osborne and all the waiters. It was a great memory, and I am so thankful that I got to spend so many years there.
Thank you, Steve. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing your memories.
You're welcome. Thank you.